for those that want to, how many would like to go through CE review here?
Yep.
Okay, we are going to go through it in class, so if you haven't had any of your class yet, we are going to go through it in class. There are some issues with what I put up and what should be the answer, so we are going to go through that step by step in class, but if there's one that you would like to go through right now, this is what I would like to do. I'm also going to allow General Chem to ask questions too, because they've got a test coming up. Yes?
So are we going to go through the whole review?
In class, we're going to go through the whole review. So if there's any other questions you have, like labs or whatever that you need extra help with, yes? Okay, so he's on Part D. If you're in your lab for CE, Part D, 3 and 4. How many have problems with that one? Part D, 3 and 4. I know I've been asked that a lot, so I'm going to bring it all to everybody. Part D, 3 and 4. Is everybody there? Part D, 3 and 4. On the analyzed results, the very back page. On the lab, very back page. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do on this, and I'm just going to take a picture of his real quick so I can talk about it with you looking and seeing what's going on. Whoa. I should ask if I could take a picture. Can I take a picture, Jacob? Okay. All right, so this is what he's got right here. Okay. So what you want to do is this point right here. That's your equivalence point, and that means how many milliliters that you used of the 0.1 molar NaOH. Okay, so this is C1, this is V1. Your V2 was how many milliliters that you put in. So how many milliliters did you use? Did you use 10? Did you use 5? Did you use 2? Did you use 1? How many milliliters did you put in? And you are used. This is what you pipetted. And then C2 is what you're trying to solve for here. So on number 3, you're trying to solve for C2. Okay? Then, I've got to change this pen because it's way too fat. On 4, it's asking you what's the amount of acid that's in that container. So once you find C2 up here, it's going to be a molarity. Molarity is moles per liters, right? You should have been able to find out what the serving size was. Was it 8 ounces? Was it 12 ounces? Was it 234 milliliters? You want it in liters. So whatever it was, so say I had milliliters, you're going to change it to liters. Whatever it was, change it to liters. And if you don't know the conversion, up here my yellow calculators, if you go Science Tools, Alpha S, it'll take you to Science Tools, do conversion, and then convert. Yes, volume. Can you, if you have what? If you have ounces, you want to change it to liters. So if you have ounces, change it to liters. The big thing is you want to get this in liters, because then you're going to take this molarity, times it by liters to get moles. Okay? Once you have moles in your pre-lab on the front page, so just flip back over on the bottom right-hand corner, so on your pre-lab, bottom right-hand corner, you've already added up the mass. So once you've got moles, you're just going to take moles. In 1 mole, you added up the mass already, you times it out, you're done. Okay? Make sure you label your answer grams of citric acid. This is gram molarity of citric acid. If you want to write citric acid, you can, or you can use the chemical formula. Okay? Any other questions with lab or anything else? Like I said, we're going to go step by step through the review during class period for CE. Yes?
I just want to know, so it might come up during the review, but while doing WebSmarts, we had to use titration equations, and normally we would just use the C1V and the C3V2.
There's one on the review.
So is that only used when it's a 1-to-1?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The other one would have to be used.
You have to do your stoichiometry. So you have to get in how many moles did you titrate from your known and the volume that you used. find out the number of moles you've used, then go to the equation and go mole to mole. And then now you've got your moles of what you had in your unknown, and you got to divide it by the volume that you put in your unknown to get it back into molarity.
And will she give you the balanced equation?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What do you write in the Part A analysis?
Okay, in the Part A analysis, what you're doing is you're taking your data in on the left,
Yep.
and you're putting it on the right according to where it falls in pH.
So I'm writing the substances in the pH.
So, for instance, the first one is lemon juice,
pH 4.
pH 4. So under 4, you put lemon juice.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah. So you might have 10 or 12 on one pH level,
Yeah.
and you might have nothing on some.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, Gen Chem, did you have any questions? You're good? Okay, any more questions with CE? Things that you didn't understand? Yes.
Go over the naming again.
Yes, we can go over naming again. Of all the acids? Okay. So if we go for naming acids, remember there's just a real quick way to remember it. If you've got an acid, it starts with an H, with something, right? If there's just two elements, one's an H and one's something else, then you're going to name it hydro, blank, ic, and acid. If there are three or more, okay, then you ignore the hydrogen. The hydrogen just tells me it's an acid. And you look at the rest. So if it is a polyatomic, so look at the polyatomic. If the polyatomic ended in ITE, then it becomes an OUS and acid. If it ended in an ATE, then it becomes an IC and acid. Hydro is only for 2. So 2 gives me the hydro. 3 or more, no hydro. Okay, remember PS, by the way, remember phosphorus and sulfur get their OR or UR back before you do the IC or the S. Okay, so they're special. PS, by the way, they're special. Because this is just a real quick way to remember how to name. So let's try some. Let's do the OR and the UR. So HClO2. This has 3 elements, right? So because it has 3 elements, I'm going to sort of ignore the H. The H just tells me it's an acid. I already know that. I look at the ClO2. The ClO2, if I don't remember what it is, I can look, but I know ClO4 was one of my strong acids, and it was perchlorate. If I take one oxygen away, I have 3 oxygens left. That's get rid of the per, so it's just chlorate. Take another oxygen away, it becomes chlorite, because now it's going to fight because you took something away from it. So this becomes chlorite. Okay.
We're just going to have to know that ClO2 is chloride.
Yep. I would make sure I knew or put on my card the phosphates, the sulfates, the chlorates, the nitrates, and carbonate. It's not many compared to how many there are. They're the ones we use the most. So the ones that we've been using are the ones you should put on your card if you don't know them. Okay? So chlorite, remember, ite, we're going to fight, and it takes 2 of us, O-us, to fight. So we're going to go O-us, we're going to get in a fight, put the chlor up in the front, chlorous acid. Okay? Let's take another one. Okay, what do I know about it? There's 3, so there's no hydro. Okay, so I know just from the 3 that the hydrogen, I'm not going to worry about it. It's just going to tell me it's an acid. Done. Now I look at the PO3. Phosphate was PO4. Okay, it's phosphite. So phosphite becomes And we get the OUR back, right? Phos, for, and then OUS. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, you got it. Hydro, because there's just two of them, so we put hydro. We still know it's an acid. And it's iodic. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do... Okay, so again, we say the H just told me it was an acid, right? We're left with SO4, which is sulfate. So sulfate, think Thanksgiving dinner, I ate. Sulfuric, right, because it's one of those funky ones. This one gets its UR back, and we had IC.
So if it has forms, that means 8. So if it's SO4, it's so,
Okay, there was a little trick that I sort of told you about. If you look at the periodic table, take out oxygen and fluorine, slide that top row over. Okay, so now nitrogen's next to neon. That upside down L, boron, carbon, nitrogen, chlorine, bromine, iodine, that upside down L gets 3 oxygens, and it's an 8. PS, by the way, they get more, so they get 1 more, that means 4. PO4, SO4, those are 8s. If it's in the column 1 away from the noble gas, it's -1, 2 away, -2, 3 away, -3. If I take an oxygen away from that set, it becomes ites. The charges are still the same.
so
If I
you slide those over and the phosphorus, the sulfur, and then the upside down L are all 8s.
Right, so if I'm looking at it, we've got B, C, N, and then it would be Cl, Br, I, and this would be phosphorus and sulfur here. And these are our noble gases over here. Okay, so to be 8s, this would be BO3, CO3, NO3, ClO3, BrO3, IO3. But when we get to PS, they get 4. Okay, the ones in this column, -1, -2, -3. If I take one away from what's there, and it becomes BO2, CO2, NO2, ClO2, BrO2, IO2, and PO3 and SO3. These are my ites. If I take one more away, it becomes hypo, -1 more oxygen. If I add 1 more oxygen, it becomes per and then 8. Okay? So that's a way really quickly, you got a lot of them right underneath your hands.
From 8 to ite.
The charges are the same. Charges are the same. It doesn't matter how many oxygens. Okay? Any others that you'd like to go through? Did that help?
Yes.
Naming? Those I can't. Was it Jaylee? Did you ask me naming? Did you need more? Or you okay? Okay. Anybody else need anything else? Things you want to go over, you're not sure how to do that. Yes, ma'am.
It's just part of our lab on
Okay.
Section 8. I don't
On which one? Oh, okay. This is our, come on, go forward. This is our pH, pOH, concentration of hydroxide, and concentration of hydronium. Okay, that's what that one is. So if you know your pH, say my pH was 4, I'm starting in this corner right here. To get from here to here, pH plus pOH equals 14, right? So I just take, and my pOH then would be 10. So I can get those really quickly. Then from these two, I can really quickly find the others, because coming down, I go 10 to the minus pOH and 10 to the minus pH here. So my concentration of Hydroxide's down here. Concentration of hydrogen would just be 10 to the minus 4, and my concentration of hydrogen would be 10 to the minus 10. Done. Okay? If I'm going back up the other way, remember that's where we use the minus the log, the concentration of hydroxide here, and it's minus the log to go up, but to go down it's 10 to the negative power. Okay? Remember I told you I don't often use this part right here just because that a lot of kids make a lot of mistakes, including me. Okay? Anything else you'd like to go over? Anything on the review from first period that you didn't understand you want to go over more?
Can we talk about, like, number 7? Oh, wait, not number 7. Which one was it?
This is the one that was wrong. This is the one that's not right. Okay, because that gave us POH. This gave us concentration. This is not. I put in pH instead of POH, so you should have subtracted that from 14 first to put it in.
Okay.
That was the one I told you there was a problem. So make sure you change that so you don't get messed up. So if they gave me pH is equal to 8.4, then to get POH, which I need to find the base, I take 14 minus 8.4, and it's 5.6. Then you would put it into the minus the log. Whoops, try it again. 10 to the minus 5.6. Plug it in my calculator. It's going to give me something. And that would be the concentration.
So that's,
And that would be the concentration of hydroxide. That was my mistake. And that's when I told you it would be really
so that's concentration.
Mm-hmm.
When you're finding concentration, you go here.
great.
Okay.
Brackets mean concentration, yeah. Okay, any others? Any Gen Chem questions? Yes.
Free lab part B2.
Okay, what does it say?
Calculate the mass of solid sodium acetate required to make 100 milliliters of 1 mole acetic acid.
So you're going to do the exact same thing that you did for A, or for number 1, except you instead of putting in the 0.01, you're going to put 0.1 in to the Henderson-Hasselbalch for the acid moles. Does that make sense? So when you got to the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, which was pH is equal to pKa plus the log of the concentration of the base over the acid, for the acid, on the first one you put in 0.01. On the bottom one you're putting 0.1. Yes?
So with like 21 right here, to find these, would you just start it wherever it says? and
I would
go
start
to
out,
pH?
yep, and then go to pH.
Okay. So it's
Yep.
just plugging it in a few times.
Yep. And she'll do that with you, and I'm like, oh. But be careful. Make sure you know what you have. Well, once you don't always have this. Sometimes she's giving you this, so you need to make sure where you're at and what you need to do.
Yeah, I just.
One step or two.
It's hard to go from like pH to OH, you know, like when you have to do it multiple times.
Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
that's just me, but.
It does. It takes a time, and you got plenty of time for this test. Don't rush it. Is what the big thing is. You just got to take it slow. Okay. Any other questions on any other parts? Like I said, there's some parts. Those of you that haven't had me yet, we're going to go over some that I screwed up on, and we're going to talk about the mistakes because they're common mistakes. And I was tired, and because I was tired, I made the stupid mistakes that hopefully you won't make because I made them and I point them out to you. Okay. Any other things that you'd like to talk about? We've got about 7 more minutes. We good then? Or are we just still looking?
Are the Learn Smarts going to go on this term's grade?
Yes.
And the homeworks as well?
Yes. Everything up through this chapter. We'll go on this.
On my DSD,
But if we get a better score,
Canvas is supposed to be 6.
Canvas is your true answer, true grade. Now, there has been a problem because on my main screen, the score that I'm seeing, your percent on my main screen is about 2% less than what everybody's been seeing on their screen. So for our final grade, what I have to do is I have to go into my screen, which shows that percent, and then go click on your name again, and it takes me to another screen, which gives me a higher percent. I'll use that higher percent for your final grade. Okay, which is the percent you guys are seeing, which I don't know why I'm seeing a lower percent. But that's the percent that I'll keep putting up on your grade when we go through fourth term, because it's so hard to get to the other percent for me. And then at the very end, I'll put it to the right one. Does that make sense? Because I'm not sure how, I think it's including or adjusting for the 20% last of the year test. Does that make sense on your grade?
So,
The percent you see on, the percent you see on Canvas is what I'll put in for the final grade. I started to try and do it for first period, and I went, oh, I'm not going to do this right now and at the end of the term. So just know that I will do that.
okay.
Breathe.
Would it be on, well, I guess it matters with our tests and everything too, huh?
Mhm.
I just can't. Oh my gosh. I'm losing like one day. Like, oh my god.
Breathe, 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 breathe. Did you have any questions? Caleb, okay. You can do it, Riley. Just
What
breathe.
if you, like, got soaked? I'm going to this test with the 75, pretty much. And that will go on this term's grade with the 75. Okay.
Yep, every test right now is about 5%, a little over 5%. When we finally finish, all the tests we've taken through the year are 5% each, with the last test being 20%. Yeah, she really weighted the last test.
Are the homeworks extended until
They are, but if you want it on this term, you got to get it done before then. Okay. Okay, questions? No? Okay. You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yes. Depends on how close you are. It depends on how much of a pain in the butt you've been. No. Yes.
General chemistry, can we use both factors?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before, like, I try to squeeze it off.
Well, the funny thing is, I found that you guys study more to get that card, and half the time you don't use the card at all when you're on the test. So
That's what I did last time. I was going to on the test, yeah.
it's because I got to get everything I don't know on the test, and you're writing it, and you're seeing what you don't know, and then you.
take on that, and then you might use like 2 days on it. Like I spent all that time doing okay.
I'm going to go
Yeah, you're gonna go.
between this class and next period. I'm just going to go talk to my math teacher really fast.
Okay. Okay.
So on my Learn Smart 7s, I have done them all. It clicks here, like attempts, it says it's completed.
Mhm.
See report. I did that, and it doesn't say individual scores, so I'll go down to 7.
As long as you've tried to learn smart, they give you 100%.
Well, it says so that one was 100. Where was it? One of them was like 16 out of 100. And that's what it is. Yeah, 16.677 out of 100.
So did you not finish it?
I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't have finished it on it.
That's the only reason you get low on a Learn Smart is if you don't finish it. I'm gonna go stop this video, so